In 1462, when 20-something-ish-year-old Italian humanist Marsilio Ficino was translating a work of Plato into Latin, a text was brought to him that would interrupt his work and produce a manuscript of immense importance. That work was the Corpus Hermeticum. The Corpus Hermeticum is a collection of around 17 Greek texts attributed to the mythical figure Hermes Trismegistus. Hermes Trismegistus is the syncretic combination of the Greek god Hermes and the Egyptian god Thoth. The name Hermes Trismegistus means Hermes the thrice great. The product of a time when Egypt was being Hellenized by Greco-Roman conquest, Hermes Trismegistus is a figure that was thought by many to have taught figures like Plato, Moses, Pythagoras, and a number of other important historical and religious figures. The overall body of texts attributed to this figure are called the Hermetica. Now, the Hermetica are split into two main categories by academics: the technical Hermetica and the philosophical Hermetica. Now, the technical Hermetica has to do with more practical matters such as astrology and magical practice. That's because Hermes and Thoth were both associated with esoteric and hidden magical knowledge. On the other hand, the philosophical Hermetica have to do with more metaphysical and speculative notions. It is very important from this point forward to acknowledge the fact that academics are creating this binary. Practitioners of Hermeticism probably did not split the corpus of texts into this dichotomy. However, this academic categorization can help us get a clearer lay of the land. The Corpus Hermeticum is one of the most well-known examples of that second category, the philosophical Hermetica. These are 17 treatises often written as dialogues between Hermes Trismegistus and his student, or in some cases his own teacher. Now, while many people anciently attributed these works directly to Hermes Trismegistus, a lot of scholars today acknowledge that the texts were probably edited and filtered by Byzantine Christian scholars in the Middle Ages. These scholars probably tinkered with the texts in a way that left out important parts which they deemed too pagan. So in a way, while these Byzantine Christian scholars probably saved and preserved these texts for us today, they probably skewed our access to more pagan aspects of the Hermetica. Even the fact that we split the 17 Corpus Hermeticum texts as a separate body of works as opposed to the large pool of Hermetica is something that we need to watch out for. These are texts which were subject to, like all other texts, the accidents of history. We also cannot sleep on the fact that Arabic and Islamic sources probably had something massive to do with the preservation of the Corpus Hermeticum and the Hermetica in general. You know, in the way that they preserved some of our classical philosophical texts like Aristotle, which we now use to support biblical theology. In the coming few episodes, we'll be looking at what Hermeticists believed, what this category even means, how Hermeticism found its way into debates in early Christianity, and how it still impacts a lot of what we consider spirituality and New Age spirituality to this very day. Because remember, Francis Yates theorized that Giordano Bruno belonged to a genealogy of Hermetic philosophers. As a disclaimer, this is a topic about which there is a lot of crap. I'm trying my best to use academic sources to deliver some of the best information we have about this very interesting religious movement. If you like to read ahead, the best translation of the Corpus Hermeticum is Brian P. Copenhaver's Hermetica. I'll see you in the next episode when we talk about what Hermeticists believed and how they theorized about the cosmos, religion, and the soul. Thanks for watching another episode of TeaSoteric.